Do the Detroit Lions have a quarterback controversy brewing? Now, most people and most NFL fans would tell you that no, Hendon Hooker is the solidified player at that QB2 spot, that no player either drafted, signed, or brought in at this point could possibly take that role away from him. And it's easy to see why. He is the most veteran quarterback behind Jared Goff on this roster. He had the most draft capital and really the most capital in general spent on him to bring him to the roster. He started and played really okay in a lot of the preseason games a season ago, got a majority of that QB2 reps and time. And it's easy to look at that and say he is the solidified player. But it's also really easy to overlook the fact that the Detroit Lions showed interest in quarterbacks throughout the draft process. It's easy to overlook the fact that in the playoffs, the Detroit Lions brought in Teddy Bridgewater to start as the backup quarterback and actually play when Jared Goff left for a small injury during that game. It's really easy to overlook that the Detroit Lions brought in a franchise backup quarterback and a player that has over 7 years of NFL playing experience to battle Hendon Hooker for that spot. The Detroit Lions have shown time and time again that they will not just hand Hendon Hooker this position. They will not just give him the keys to the backup quarterback car, that he's going to have to earn it every step of the way. And this year, he's going to have to earn it through a really good backup quarterback. Hendon Hooker is, of course, the immediate option, but Kyle Allen was just brought into this roster, just signed as a Detroit Lions free agent in the 2025 free agency class. And of course, Jake Fromm is still here from a season ago as well. Hendon Hooker is a player that a lot of Lions fans want to believe in, a player that just a few seasons ago was a third-round pick from a high-flying Tennessee offense that saw him finish third in the Heisman voting, pass for over 9,000 yards in his NFL career, 80 touchdowns to just 12 interceptions. As a prospect, Hendon Hooker was great. He had a good deep ball, good accuracies. He was mobile enough to get it done. He had a good arm, but he was older. He was 25 as an NFL prospect, and not only that, but he was a 25-year-old kid coming off of a torn ACL that ended his Heisman hopes and Heisman campaign. This was not a slam dunk pick, and this is not a player that is always going to be successful in the NFL. He struggled early in his college career, and even though it ended with a bang and ended with a lot of flashy lights and a lot of big numbers, Hendon Hooker was never a slam dunk prospect. He never had the biggest arm, was never the most athletic player, was never the most accurate football player, had a pretty nice deep ball, but other than that, really came from a gimmicky offense that didn't prepare quarterbacks for the NFL level. You can look and see Joe Milton went through the exact same thing. He struggled a lot at the NFL level because Tennessee doesn't prepare them for that, right? Hooker's NFL experience didn't really help him a lot in this case either. He went 29 for 44 in the preseason, passed for 300 yards, a touchdown, and an interception across his 3 games. And in the regular season, he threw 9 passes, completed 6 of them for 62 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and an 86.3 QBR. But he played all those games against backups. All of those passes came when the Detroit Lions were up by 20, 30, 40 points in a football game, and they just wanted to take the starters out and rest them for the fourth quarter. Hendon Hooker, at 28 years old, has never thrown a football versus a starting NFL caliber defense, and that is really concerning for Dan Campbell and the Detroit Lions. If Jared Goff were to go down for a season, they would be relying on essentially a 28-year-old rookie quarterback who's never started an NFL game. So what do? You bring in Teddy Bridgewater for the playoffs. You bring in Teddy Bridgewater a season ago, and you say, okay, if Jared Goff gets hurt in the playoffs, this is our starter now. Not Hendon Hooker, not the player that started the entire season on the backup quarterback, not the player that's been with the team the entire season, a veteran quarterback who just coached in a state title high school game for the entire year and played his high school season with his alma mater, a quarterback that hasn't been conditioning, a quarterback that isn't really probably in NFL shape after 6 to 7 months of coaching football, a quarterback that hasn't played at the NFL level at all, regardless, practice, in-game, or even preseason in over a year, and they still trusted Teddy Bridgewater over Hendon Hooker. This season, with Teddy Bridgewater going back to high school, They brought in Kyle Allen, a quarterback that many people rolled their eyes at and said that this isn't going to be an anything move and that he was just a camp body, but a 7-year NFL veteran, a quarterback who has a 7-12 starting record, has over 700 passing attempts in the NFL, completing 442 of them, passing for 4,700 yards and 26 touchdowns throughout his career. Now, in no case am I making that Kyle Allen is a franchise quarterback, that he is a starting caliber player, but for a player who is almost the same age as Hendon Hooker, they are just 365 roughly days apart in age. There is a big difference between a 7-year NFL veteran at 29 and a rookie who's never played an NFL game at 27 years old. Now, Kyle Allen has had a long and strenuous NFL journey. In 2018, he was signed as an undrafted rookie free agent for the Carolina Panthers. He played there for 2 seasons where he had a 6-7 record as a starter, got the opportunity to play almost a full season's worth of snaps, and while he wasn't the best quarterback in professional football, he was far from the worst. He led the Panthers to nearly a 500 record on the season and was pretty solid. He went to Washington to be the primary backup and even compete for a starting role. In Washington, he spent 2 seasons after that where he put a 1-3 quarterback record, played 4 games as a starter. He went to Houston where he played 1 game as a starter, went 0-1 in that year, and only played for the Houston Texans for a singular year. Then he went to the Buffalo Bills where he didn't play a whole lot, and went to the Pittsburgh Steelers where he didn't play a whole lot. Kyle Allen is a backup quarterback. That is the role that he has carved out for himself, and that isn't to slight him. He is still a good NFL caliber quarterback, as you can see. A 7-12 NFL record may not sound like it's an impressive thing, but many quarterbacks fail to even reach that mark in their NFL career. Very few quarterbacks coming out of the draft, particularly UDFAs, get the opportunity to throw 700 pass attempts, get the opportunity to throw for 440 completions, get the opportunity to throw for 4,700 yards and 20 plus touchdowns in their NFL career. And Kyle Allen has the ability and showed that he can do that. He's done it at the NFL level, and that type of experience is really valuable for a team like the Lions, who are looking to make a very deep postseason run. And as we talked about at the beginning of this video, the Detroit Lions have showed time and time again they aren't sold on Hendon Hooker. They brought in Jalen Milroe. They interviewed him at the Combine. They met with him multiple times throughout the draft process, and had he fallen a little bit farther in the draft, I wouldn't be shocked if the Detroit Lions took him at some point on day 3 had he made it there to compete with Hendon Hooker for the job. They signed Teddy Bridgewater during playoffs last season, in a time where he only had 2 weeks to get in football shape, learn the playbook, get familiar with teammates, find that chemistry again after 8 to 9 months away from the team, and he was still a player that they felt was okay and ready to start over Hendon Hooker in that situation. Again, Hendon Hooker being the player that had been with the Lions all season, had even played for the Lions during the season, had thrown passes for the Detroit Lions that year, and they still trusted Teddy Bridgewater, cold from the high school football field, to come in and do a better job than Hendon Hooker in the playoffs. And this year, they signed Kyle Allen, a player that is just a year and a half older at 28 years old, but he is a better quarterback. He's far more experienced. And if you are the Detroit Lions, if you're sitting there and you're comparing the two players, what are their advantages? Do you want a 29-year-old quarterback who's played 7 years in the NFL, has played over a full year's worth of gameplay and reps against starting NFL caliber defenses? Or do you want a 28-year-old rookie who's never actually seen the field against a starter? A rookie that's never seen a complex coverage in a real game? A rookie that's never played in front of an NFL crowd before at its peak and at the beginning of an intense, big moment type of game? That's a big risk and a big gamble for teams to worry about. And for the Lions, being a team that has Super Bowl aspirations, that's a big deal. If it was a team that was, 7-10 or 6-11, maybe didn't have playoff aspirations, you could get away with it and say, well, if the quarterback goes down, we probably weren't going to win a whole lot anyway. But for the Detroit Lions, if Jared Goff goes down, there is still an expectation to make the playoffs. There's still an expectation to be a competitive football team. If Jared Goff goes down early, your season's in trouble regardless. But who would you want quarterbacking the ship? Who would you want in that situation? a 28-year-old quarterback with 9 career passing attempts in the regular season, or a 29-year-old quarterback with 7 years of NFL experience across numerous systems, numerous playbooks, and who fits the scheme significantly better than Hendon Hooker? You take a look at the advantages and disadvantages of both. Allen has a lot. Allen has more experience. Kyle Allen is a better scheme fit and a better system fit, plays much more similarly to Jared Goff than Hendon Hooker does, and his production is significantly improved. Hendon Hooker is a little bit younger, of course, has a little bit more athleticism, is a bit, more upside in that particular area of the field, but that's not enough. That isn't enough to guarantee him a job. That isn't enough to guarantee him quarterback 2 reps, and it's certainly not enough for him to be labeled as the quarterback 2 in Detroit. So these two will battle. These two will battle through OTAs. They will battle through minicamp. They will battle through training camp. They will battle through the preseason. And come week 1, I truly don't know who's going to win the job. Detroit Lions fans will tell you confidently that it is Hendon Hooker, but that may not be the case because Hendon Hooker, while being a good player, while showing some flashes last preseason, doesn't have the NFL experience, doesn't have the entirety trust from the coaching staff and the scheme fits. And it's going to be an uphill battle. I do think that Hendon Hooker is a little bit behind Kyle Allen if the season were to start today. And I think if the season started right now, I think Kyle Allen would be your quarterback 2. But that's just my opinion. Let me know down in the comments below your opinions on Hendon Hooker, on Kyle Allen. If you're a big Jake Fromm guy, let me know that in the comments down below as well. I'd love to hear your opinions and love to hear what you guys think about this particular controversy. With that being said, that's all I got for you guys right now. Thank you all so much for watching. And until next time, and as always, go Lions.